Do you want to know how to talk to your child about depression? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, all through the lens of the principles of self-government. And in this video, we're talking about discussing depression. In this video, we're going to be talking about depression and how to discuss depression that maybe somebody else might be experiencing that your child knows, maybe a loved one, and how to help them understand what's going on. But also, we're going to talk about how to discuss depression with your child if your child might be experiencing depression. Depression in children is actually increasing all of the time. There are many reasons for that. I'm not going to get into that in this video because there are many other videos on this channel that actually go into, why children are having certain problems that they are. But depression is something that impacts an entire family. When a person is experiencing situational depression or clinical depression, it can make a difference in the relationships in the home. People can feel disconnected from each other. The person with depression sometimes feels like they're watching themselves live. They don't know if they're properly connected or not. They have a hard time assessing that. And this can make it feel very isolated for all of the other people around them. And so having a conversation with your child about depression can be very beneficial so that they can be more understanding and supportive of the other people that have depression, but also so that they can bring things up if they have a concern. It's super important that your child knows that no matter what is going on around them, that you're the one that they can talk to, and that they can express concerns or share some of their feelings and some of the experiences that they might have had that they are having a hard time discerning what has really happened there. Depression can be hard to understand. Sometimes depression looks like I'm just attacking myself all the time. And so people fall for that and they'll start to build the person up. And when I say fall for it, I'm not saying that the person who's depressed is deliberately trying to get the other person to tell them good things about themselves. In fact, oftentimes if they truly have depression, they actually don't want the other person to tell them the good things about themselves. They wouldn't believe it anyway, even if they do. But usually that's what happens is we start saying, oh no, that's not right. Oh, you're really smart. Or, everybody loves being with you. And we start to tell them the opposite of what they're saying. When in reality, what that person really needs is just to have a person there to hear, a person to care, a person to say, that can be hard. You can do this though. You can get through this. One thing you might want to explain to your child is you might want to say, when a person is depressed, they don't see the world the same way. They oftentimes feel like that their impact on the world is negative. And they have a hard time seeing all of the positive things that they're doing. So this makes them wonder if they're valuable to themselves or even to other people. And sometimes they get hopeless and they start feeling down about things. So one thing that you need to know when you're working with another person with depression is that some of that down stuff can rub off on you. But you are not responsible for making that other person feel good. And you need to know that. So if that person is starting to make you feel really down, then you might have to take a break from them. It's not that you don't love them, but one of the best things that you can do is keep in a good place yourself so that you can be a good impact on them. You might need to pull yourself away. You might need to take breaks from spending time with them, and that's okay. And it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I actually need to go and do something right now, so I'll come back a little bit later. And so having some ideas in the back of your mind of things that you might need to accomplish so that you don't get sucked into somebody else's depressive episode. So what if it's your child that's the one that's dealing with depression? That conversation is completely different. You're going to want to talk to them about how their brain can tell them warnings about things where things aren't right, and how their brain can sometimes confuse them, maybe even tell them lies, because the chemicals in our brains can get off balance. And when the chemicals get off balance, then we can start to believe things that aren't true because we start processing and maybe even fixating on the same fact again and again. And sometimes those things lead us to feeling like the world around us isn't very good, the people don't like us. We can start looking at things in a way that makes us really sad inside. We need to remember that those are like the bad thoughts. There's a difference between the good thoughts, which give us hope and move us forward, and the bad thoughts, which tear us down. We need to be able to identify those bad thoughts and replace them or challenge them with some of those good thoughts, but it takes practice. And so you're there to help that child practice that skill of working on those thoughts. If your child knows you're there for them, you'll talk to them about those thoughts, you'll help them work through it, and maybe even you'll just regularly check up on them and see how they're doing at pushing away the bad thoughts and focusing on the good ones. They can acknowledge where the thought came from. Okay, I had that thought, it might be true, but it's not going to help me, so I'm going to call it a bad thought. And oftentimes the bad thoughts actually are lies. So help them understand that too. Let them know that their chemicals are adjusting. Now, if it's situational depression, that's different. Give them hope that everybody feels this way sometimes and that they'll be able to rally out of it as they start focusing on the good things and the positive things instead. All right, so there's a whole lot more we could talk about related to thoughts, and this channel has tons of videos all about our emotions and emotional regulation, those types of things. I would highly recommend looking at some of those videos to help you have even further discussions with your children. And don't forget to bring in calmness, because as you are calm when you're working with your child, then you'll be able to help them even more. There is a whole course, it's a mini course that I have, it's called the Calm Parenting Toolkit. Right now it's for free on my website, so if you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So there's a link in the description below here. You can click on that, and you can also just go to teachingselfgovernment.com. So hopefully we'll see you there. That'll help with all of your parenting.